Hey there, welcome back to the channel. My name is Carrie with Blue City Pickin, and if you are new here, I am a part-time reseller that goes around to garage sales, estate sales, thrift stores, and buys things to flip for a profit on eBay. I've got what's sold for June 22nd through the 25th. Normally I focus on a full week, but I've had more sales this week as far as quantity, and I did not want to try to get through 50 something sales in 20 minutes because I like to try to keep my videos to around 20 minutes. So I decided to cut this in half this week, and I'm going to do Sunday through Wednesday in one video, and then you'll see my Thursday, Friday, and Saturday sales in the next video. I hope that shows you that things are going pretty well. The summer of sales continues. We had, on those 4 days, we had 23 items sell with 22 orders. I had a bundle order where somebody bought 2 different things. I had $518 in gross sales. That's all in shipping, taxes, everything. The price that I agreed upon with my buyer was $370.26. I had about $45 into this as far as purchase prices for the goods, so nice low cost of goods. And so I made about $250 or an average of about $11 per item. Not the best, but when I explain what I'm doing right now, I think you will understand why my average is definitely lower than what I would like or what I would normally see. So days on site, I had one thing that sold before the day was even up, and I had something that took 317 days to sell. And then my average was 99, which is definitely up from the last few weeks, which is also part of what's kind of going on in my store right now. So let's go ahead and get into some of the what's sold, and then we'll take a break and I'll talk about what I'm doing, and then I'll finish up with the rest of what's sold. So first thing that's sold is a lot of 8 VTech GoGo Smart Wheels cars. I picked these up at the bins for $1 cost of goods. I tested them. I had picked up about 10 of them, only 8 of them worked. So I tested them and they sold for $15.20. And so I made $11.46 in just 5 days. Next item is another bins pickup. This was an Oscar de la Renta silk scarf. 10 out of 10 recommend picking up scarves at the bins. They use them a lot to wrap the hard goods at my bins. So a lot of people are just kind of overlooking them, but this particular day there were several 100% silk scarves, and then there were 2 or 3 Oscar de la Rentas, 1 Burberry that I've already sold. So I went ahead and snagged this. I have $1 cost of goods into it. It sold for $20. I accepted a lower offer than what I had it listed for, and so I made $13.98 in just 17 days. Next up is another bins pickup. This is a set of 4 Trolls little collectible figurines. I wouldn't pick these up as a standalone, but because there were 4 of them together, I snagged all 4 for $1.06. They sold for $7.65, and so I made $4.33 in just 37 days. Next is something that came out of a house clean out. My oldest child is cleaning out her room, getting rid of some stuff. So you'll see a couple things this week from either that, from my own personal clean out, from my parents, kind of mixed in with my thrifting sales. And I'll have to admit that is one of the best, hands down, parts of being a reseller, is that you can look, see if it's got any value, go ahead and list it, as opposed to waiting and maybe making a buck from a garage sale. So 10 out of 10, best perk of being a reseller is being able to sell your own stuff. This was a pair of Toy Story slip-on sneakers that I had bought for her. I honestly don't think she ever ended up wearing them. They were a women's size 9, so $0 into them. They sold for $20. I got an offer of the same day they were listed, and so we made a profit of $16.61. Next item is vintage Fisher-Price. I think I mentioned in my last What Sold, I did this fairly large Fisher-Price buyout from a lovely lady locally that had closed down her booth. I think I'm like 150 all in on a ton of sets, a ton of smalls. Like I think I've almost already made my money back, and I still have quite a bit listed, and I still have some left to list that I have not done. I'm just kind of sprinkling them in each week. This was actually a mail truck, mailman, and 6 letters. I think there's 8 that they're supposed to have. But if you find the letters, those are worth some good money. But I went ahead and made a little bundle of all 3 things. I have $2 into it. They sold for $20 within a couple hours of them being listed. And so I made $15.50. Next is a lot of 5 Fisher-Price replacement records for the music box record player. I had the record player. It was working. My son and his BFF across the street got a hold of it, and within 10 minutes the record player was no longer working. And I told them, guys, this thing has been working for 40 years. You two had it for less than 10 minutes and you broke it. So because the record player wasn't working, I just pulled the records out to sell them. I had $2 into them. They sold for $16.15, and so I made $10.35 after just 15 days. Next up is a bins pickup. This was a Mighty Beans Fortnite set. Had $1.13 into this. They sold for $7.65, and so I made $3.54 in 52 days. Next is another bins pickup. This was a Pocahontas with cassette tape read-along book. Had $1.06 into this. It sold for $11.90, and so I made $7.97 after 48 days. Next is one of my favorite things that I sold this week. I actually picked up this book. It is a vintage Dragon Tales look and find book at one of my local Goodwills just last weekend. I knew it was going to be good though. I had seen some videos and resellers talk about Dragon Tales. I had read about like if you find the plush, those are really big bolos. So I'm like, surely the book is going to be a good pickup. It was $1.50 at my local Goodwill. It sold for $19 in just a day. And so I made $12.43, which was just great off of a vintage kids book. But keep an eye out for Dragon Tales if that's not something that you're familiar with. It's got a very specific look, so just keep an eye out for that. Next is something that I took a really low offer on just to kind of get it gone. This was this really cute little cottage core plaque of a painted bunny. I had paid 50 cents for this at a church sale back in March. It sold for $5, so I made $3.68 in just 88 days. Next is the bundle sale that I found out later actually went to the same person that bought the Dragon Tales book. So I had a repeat buyer this week that bought 3 different things from me. This was an adorable wooden picnic basket that had like painted geese on it. It had a little insert that you could stack plates and stuff in it. It was absolutely adorable. I had paid $5 for this at a local thrift store back in, where did I buy that? Oh, there it is, August of last year. So I've had it almost a year. And the other thing I had that she bought was this Bukowski plush. It was a mouse. It was in a pink little tutu dress. It was from Sweden. I had $1 into that at the bins. When she did the bundle, the pricing came out to $30.60. Like I said, I had $6 cost of goods into those items. And let me see here. I made, it looks like about $22 in profit from that. And like I said, I had 317 days that I had had the picnic basket and 95 days that I had had that little plush. It looks like that little plush was from my very first trip to the bins. So that's fun. Next up is a pair of Columbia pants. These are convertible hiking pants. I've had these since last October. Hadn't really gotten a lot of action on them. So when I got an offer for $11, I went ahead and took it. I had $2 into them from an estate sale, and so I made $6.04 after 256 days. So summer of sales, not my term, something that I picked up from I can't remember her exact channel. I'll put it here so you can see it. But it's basically letting things go that either I've had for a long time, aren't going to bring me a large profit, or it's not something that I need to hold on to. So there are several things in here that you hear that I made less than $5 profit on. Most of them were items that I had for a long time, or I purchased with the intent of them being potentially a lower profit item from the bins. So summer of sales is still going. I think it's going pretty well. The other thing that I am doing as part of that is I am going through my store right now, and I am looking at older items. I am marking them down to get some more attention on them. I'm relisting them with that lower price, so ending sell similar lower price item, and I'm checking just to make sure that I didn't misspell something in the keywords or something like that. So I am doing that. The other thing that I am doing is I have been running like 10 or 15% off sales on the weekend. So like Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I will mark down probably like 80% of my items, 10 to 15%, because I would send out offers for that amount off anyway. So I've just gone ahead and marked that down, and that does seem to be driving some additional traffic to the store, which I'm okay with. Now there's less full price sales on those days than I've experienced in the past, which is a balance you have to take with what you're doing. So if that model doesn't work for you, I would not recommend doing a markdown sale. The other thing I've been kind of playing around with is doing a coupon kind of off and on during the week. So like maybe like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I'll do like a 10% off coupon on the store. I'll take Friday off. I end up with some better sales on Friday. And then not Thursday or whatever, you know what I mean. I'm a walking disaster, guys. Like, this is just me every day. Like, words are hard. It's just life, right? But yeah, I've been dilly-dallying between like coupons and sales over this summer, and eBay seems to be liking that, along with accepting offers that are reasonable. I do counter when I just think it's absolutely absurd, and I've checked comps and they're just lowballing me. I'm not in the mood for that. And then I've lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, going back through my old inventory and marking it down. So instead of going sourcing really for the last, I haven't really been out in the last week and a half-ish. I haven't been out too much. I did go to Plato's yesterday for their 90% off sale and pick some stuff up, and that video was released earlier this week. But I haven't been out sourcing because I really want to be intentional about getting the stuff I have listed. I do not have a huge death pile. Like, I do not. I have some stuff that I need to go get listed this week. I should be through all of that stuff though this week, so I don't have a big death pile. Just wanted to make sure that, you know, like, you're not going sourcing. That's not the reason I'm not going sourcing. I'm not going sourcing because I want to make sure that I'm optimizing for the money I've already invested. Like, those are sunk costs to me at this point because I bought it, I've listed it, I've taken some pictures. Now, if I can go back through, adjust the keywords, lower the price a little bit, fix the pictures if they're really bad from when I very first started, like leaning into this last year, fix the pictures, add measurements, then that's what I'm doing. So thanks for listening to me jabber, but let's go ahead and get back into the what's sold. The next is a set of 2 Fenton Water Lily custard glass candlesticks. These came from a clean out at my parents' house, so $0 cost of goods into it. They sold for $15, and so I will be giving $12.31 to my parents after 72 days. Next up is a Studio Pottery. This was like a chamber stick, so it was the finger hold candle holder. Had $1.06 from this at the Goodwill bins. It sold for $10.20, so I made $6.53 after just 19 days. Next is another item from my daughter's clean out. This is a Funko Pop. This was Cubone. It was one of the jumbo 10-inch Target exclusive ones. $0 into it. It sold for $28.90, and so I made $23.69 because I bought this originally. I will say that about my daughter, like she's not like being greedy and saying that I should have to pay her for the things that I have listed that she cleaned out of her room. Now I am going to give her a percentage of that, but I definitely want her to understand the value of money and things like that. Like if you can hear some like squeaking and creaking, she's actually outside pressure washing our driveway right now. So we are currently teaching our young teenager that you got to work for your money. So she will get a percentage though. I will give her a little bit of money off of this. Next up is a set of Dance Go clogs. These were the Stacy. They had a really cute little like black stitch on them. I paid $9.23 for these at a regular Goodwill back in February. They sold for $22, and so I made $10.02 after 121 days. My Dance Goes usually go from between like 22 to 30. I don't think I've had too many Dance Goes go for much more than that, just if you're kind of curious. Next up is a pair of Converse. These were women's 9s. They were new in the box. This was actually from a charity that I sell things for every once in a while. They sold for $33.15, and so I made $29.33 in 273 days. That will go back to the charity. Next up is a Pete the Cat. This was a Kohl's Cares. This was his mismatched shoes. Have $1.06 into him. He sold for $10.20, and so I made $5.92 in 40 days. Next item is the longest tail item in the store that sold this week. This was an In Focus studio dress. It was a 16W, so a women's plus size. I thought it was adorable. It had like a geometric neck, multicolored. Like I just thought it was really cute, plus size. I mean, I would wear it if it was my size. I paid $5.99 for it at a regular Goodwill last August. It finally sold for $21.74, and so I made $5.59 after 313 days. Next is a Baymax plush that I picked up at the bins for $1.06. He sold for $7.65, and so I made $4.31 after 19 days. Next is a vintage Decoware bread box. She was rusty, she was crusty. I paid $5 for this at a garage sale last September. It sold for $24.56, and so I made $12.58 after 274 days. And so last item on this, what sold through June 25th. This was a vintage blue ball mason. It was the big half-gallon size jar. Did not have a lid. It was the number 9. I had $2 into this from an estate sale back in November. It sold for $12.71. And so I made $7.57 after 202 days. As far as the split of where my profits came from this week, only 37% came from Goodwill, which is probably the lowest it's been in months. Had about 17% come from yard sales, 6% from estate sales, and 41% came from other. Main reason being my daughter's sales, the Golden Cross, and then my parents' stuff that I sell stuff for. As far as how things are across kind of like the major categories, had about 33% of my profits came from clothing, shoes, accessories. Household items were about 25%, and then toys, board games, collectibles were about 42%. So definitely a little bit of a flip-flop this week on what was selling, but all in all, very pleased with the 4 days of sales that I had. Are you changing up your strategy at all to kind of counter what I've been told is the summer slowdown? I know I'm definitely seeing better results this year than last year. I'll see if I can put a snip up here that shows kind of the comparison versus the prior year, that you can see that my sales are up. But if you like this kind of content, I would genuinely appreciate a like, a subscribe, and a comment down to let me know whether you're changing up your strategy or not, or are you just kind of sticking with the old tried and true methods that you do. And we will see you in the next one. Bye.